you will never feel like you are doing enough. Not because you are lazy, not because you lack ambition, but because the finish line keeps moving. You complete something, and it immediately feels smaller. You improve, and the baseline shifts again. So you push harder, optimize more, try to catch up to a version of yourself that never stays still. And when exhaustion hits, you blame yourself. But what if the feeling of not enough is not personal? What if it is built into the structure you were trying to succeed in? So you do the thing. You answer the emails. You clean the kitchen. You work out. You make the call you avoided. You finally sit down, and there should be a moment where your brain says, "Good. That counts." But it does not. The relief is thin. It evaporates fast, and within minutes, the mental list refills itself like it was never touched. The strange part is that this does not only happen when you fail. It happens when you succeed. You finish something important, and your mind immediately hunts for what is missing. Not enough hours, not enough effort, not enough progress, not enough proof. This is not a personality quirk. It is not a lack of gratitude. It is a system inside you doing exactly what it was trained to do. And once you see the system clearly, the feeling of never enough stops looking like a mysterious mood and starts looking like a predictable outcome. Picture a normal day. You wake up, and before you even stand up, your brain runs a silent audit. How did you sleep? How late are you? What did you not do yesterday? You check your phone just for a second and find messages that carry tiny obligations. You reply quickly to prove you are responsive. You step into the day already behind. At work, you finish a task and feel nothing, because the task was expected. You do one more thing to earn the feeling you wanted from the first thing. You open a document and read the first sentence, and it sounds weak, so you rewrite it. Then you rewrite it again, not because it is bad, but because it could be tighter, smarter, cleaner. You send it and immediately imagine how it will be judged. After work, there is the second shift. Errands, chores, family, health, paperwork, fitness, money. You try to relax, but relaxation now has rules. If you watch a show, part of you calls it wasting time. If you read, your brain asks whether you picked the best book. If you rest, you feel the need to deserve it by being productive first. Even your good habits get pulled into the same loop. You exercise, but the number is never right. Too short, too easy, not consistent. You eat well, but the moment you slip, your mind turns it into evidence. You try to improve, but improvement becomes a trap, because any version of you that is better automatically makes the current version feel unacceptable. And if you look closely, there is a specific kind of pain underneath it. It is not the pain of doing hard things. It is the pain of doing hard things and still feeling like you are failing. Here is the first reframe. The not enough feeling is not a verdict about your character. It is a mismatch between two internal scoreboards. Inside your mind, you carry at least two standards at the same time. One is what you actually are, in real life, with limited time and energy. The other is what you think you should be. Not what you want, but what you should. The should self is strict. It is built from rules you absorbed from parents, school, work, culture, and the people you compare yourself to. It sets a moving target. When the actual self and the should self do not match, the brain does not interpret that gap as a normal difference between real life and ideals. It interprets it as danger, because for a social species, falling behind the standard has historically meant loss of status, criticism, exclusion, or punishment. The modern world rarely threatens you that way directly, but the nervous system still reacts as if it does. So the discomfort is not random. It is the alarm signal produced by a specific kind of internal comparison. Now the first mechanism. The never enough feeling persists because the brain adapts to wins faster than it adapts to losses. When something improves, money, fitness, skill, cleanliness, stability, Your mind updates its baseline. What used to feel like progress becomes normal. Yesterday's victory becomes today's expectation. This is hedonic adaptation. The emotional impact of change fades, so you return to a familiar level of satisfaction, even after major improvements. In everyday life, this looks like this. You get organized, and for 2 days it feels great. Then the organized state becomes invisible. You only notice disorder again. You finally reach a goal, and the pleasure is brief, because the mind immediately asks, what is next? It is not that you are impossible to please. It is that your brain treats better as the new standard almost immediately. This would be manageable if the baseline stayed stable. But it does not, because the environment keeps raising it. The moment your baseline rises, the same amount of effort produces less emotional reward. So you work harder for the same internal feeling, then harder again, and there is a deeper twist. Your mind does not only adapt to outcomes, it adapts to the identity attached to the outcome. If you become the reliable one, you stop getting credit for being reliable. Reliability becomes the entry fee. If you become the capable one, capability becomes invisible until you fall short. The identity becomes a contract. The contract never thanks you. It only notices breaches. You can feel this in your body. A task gets done and there is no release. The shoulders stay up, the chest stays tight. The brain starts scanning for the next thing that could threaten the contract. Now a pattern interrupt. Listen closely. That heavy pressure you call ambition is not proof that you are driven. It is proof that you have been measured for a long time. The voice pushing you is not your truest voice. It is an internalized evaluator. And the evaluator is not focused on living. It is focused on preventing a specific outcome being seen as insufficient. The deeper layer is not motivation. It is management. And once you see that, the feeling of not enough stops being a mood and becomes a job your mind is doing all day. Mechanism layer 2. The feeling persists because the modern world turns enough into a relative number, not an absolute one. Your brain evolved to compare. Social comparison is how humans estimate their standing when there is no clear objective measure. The problem is that modern life provides endless comparison targets. Not just neighbors or classmates, but an infinite feed of curated results. So your mind is rarely asking, am I okay? It is asking, where do I rank? And ranking has no finish line. There is always someone doing more, earning more, traveling more, parenting more perfectly, optimizing more, looking calmer while doing it. Even when you know intellectually that you are seeing highlights, the comparison still lands. Because the comparison is not a careful argument. It is a fast emotional measurement. Then comes the trap. Once your brain uses ranking as the main way to judge your life, the only reliable way to reduce anxiety is to move up. That creates a loop. Anxiety pushes effort. Effort brings a small win. The win becomes baseline. Baseline meets a higher comparison target. Anxiety returns. This is also why common fixes fail. Working harder does not create enough because the standard moves with you. Achieving more does not end the pressure because the evaluator shifts from "did you do it" to "can you keep doing it?" Improving your routines does not create peace because peace is now treated as something you must earn through performance. And notice what happens when you try to rest. Rest is not experienced as rest. It is experienced as falling behind. Now, zoom out. This is not only inside your head. It is built into the structure of everyday life. Many systems around you reward outputs that are easy to count and display. Speed, responsiveness, visibility, metrics, public proof. Even outside formal work, social life has become more measurable. Steps, streaks, followers, progress photos, achievements. The more life gets turned into numbers, the more your mind treats yourself as a project that is either improving or failing. Add to that the constant sense of being reachable. In earlier eras, the day had natural walls. Now obligations leak across the whole day. When your brain never gets a clear closed signal, it keeps running open loops. That keeps the threat system slightly active, which makes you crave completion, closure, and certainty. But closure is rare, because the tasks are designed to renew. Messages keep coming. Work expands. Information never ends. There is always one more thing you could read, fix, respond to, optimize, purchase, learn. So, enough becomes a concept that the environment does not support. Here is the final reframe. The feeling of not doing enough is not evidence that you are lazy. It is evidence that your mind has replaced value with velocity. When you judge yourself by speed, the only acceptable moment is the moment you are accelerating. The second you slow down, the evaluator interprets it as decline. That is why even a good day feels incomplete. A good day ends, and your mind does not file it under life lived. It files it under life managed. The real shift is seeing that the evaluator does not want you to feel satisfied. Satisfaction would reduce movement. The evaluator wants movement because it confuses movement with safety. Controlled closing. This is why the most unsettling version of the problem is not struggling. It is functioning. You can hold a job, keep promises, stay in shape, stay informed, stay organized, and still feel like you are failing at being a person. Because the system is not asking whether you are okay. It is asking whether you are above the line, ahead of the curve, protected from judgment. And the moment you understand that, the pressure starts to look less like a personal truth and more like a built-in signal. A signal that you are living under a moving standard. A signal that enough is not missing from you. It is missing from the measurement.